Duryodhan stands as one of the most complex, tragic, and intensely driven figures. As the eldest of the 100 Kaurav brothers, in the epic Mahabharata, he is traditionally viewed as the primary antagonist. However, his life was not a simple tale of pure evil, but rather a masterclass in how insecurity, jealousy, and a fierce sense of entitlement can warp a powerful warrior into an agent of destruction. Duryodhan was born to the blind king Dhritarashtra and queen Gandhari of Hastinapur. His birth was surrounded by terrifying omens. Sages and elders like Bhishma noted that wild animals howled and the skies darkened the moment he was born. Sages advised Dhritarashtra to abandon the child to save the clan from future ruin, but paternal blind love won out. Originally named Suyodhan, meaning a great warrior, his name eventually shifted in popular memory to Duryodhan, which means one who is difficult to conquer or fight against. His childhood was defined by a toxic rivalry with his cousins, the 5 Pandav brothers. Because their father, Pandu, had been the ruling king before his death, the Pandavas held a legitimate claim to the throne. Duryodhan's jealousy focused intensely on Bhim, the strongest Pandav, who routinely outmuscled and teased the Kaurav brothers. Unable to bear Bhim's superiority, a young Duryodhan poisoned Bhim's food and threw his unconscious body into the Ganga river. Bhim survived, but the seeds of lifelong hatred were firmly planted. The cousins were educated together under the royal guru, Dronacharya. Duryodhan mastered the use of the mace or gada, becoming a favored student of Balaram, Krishna's elder brother. Despite his skills, Duryodhan felt constantly overshadowed by the Pandavas, especially the master archer, Arjun. This deep-seated insecurity led to the turning point of his life during a royal weapons tournament. When a brilliant but low-caste warrior named Karna challenged Arjun, the elders barred him from competing due to his social status. Seeing an opportunity to gain a powerful ally and humiliate Arjun, Duryodhan stepped forward. He immediately crowned Karna the king of Ang on the spot, disregarding caste barriers. This single act of meritocracy earned Duryodhan Karna's fierce, unwavering loyalty until death. As the years progressed, Duryodhan's obsession with securing the crown of Hastinapur intensified. He orchestrated several plots to eliminate his cousins. He built a highly flammable palace made of lac and resin, called Lakshagrai, inviting the Pandavas to stay there with the intent of burning them alive. However, the Pandavas discovered the plot and escaped through an underground tunnel, just in time. When the Pandavas revealed they were alive, King Dhritarashtra split the kingdom, giving the Pandavas a barren wasteland. Through sheer grit, they turned it into the magnificent city of Indraprastha. Witnessing their booming wealth only made Duryodhan consume himself with envy. This envy culminated in the infamous game of dice, engineered by Duryodhan's cunning maternal uncle, Shakuni. Using rigged dice, Shakuni stripped Yudhishthir, the eldest Pandav, of his wealth, his kingdom, his brothers, and finally, their shared wife, Draupadi. In the royal court, Duryodhan reached his lowest point of morality. He ordered his brother, Dushasan, to drag Draupadi into court by her hair and attempt to disrobe her publicly. When Draupadi was miraculously saved by Krishna, an enraged Pandav clan swore oaths of total annihilation against Duryodhan and his brothers. After losing everything in the game of dice, the Pandavas were ordered to exile for 13 years. When the 13 years of exile ended, the Pandavas sent Krishna as a peace envoy to demand back their rightful kingdom or even just 5 simple villages for the 5 brothers to avert a catastrophic war. Duryodhan's response sealed the fate of millions. He arrogantly said, "I will not yield to the Pandavas even as much land as can be pierced by the point of a needle." He even attempted to arrest Krishna, who revealed his divine cosmic Vishwarupam form, proving that Duryodhan was marching blindly toward his own doom. The 18-day Kurukshetra war was a bloodbath. Despite having a larger army and legendary commanders like Bhishma and Drona, the Kaurav forces were systematically dismantled due to the strategic brilliance of Krishna and the prowess of the Pandavas. One by one, Duryodhan watched his 99 brothers, his beloved son, Lakshman, and his truest friend Karna fall on the battlefield. Before the final days of the war, Queen Gandhari, who had worn a blindfold her entire married life out of devotion to her blind husband, decided to use the immense spiritual power she had accumulated through decades of self-denial. She instructed Duryodhan to bathe in the holy river and come to her tent completely naked. She intended to remove her blindfold and let her gaze fall upon him, which would turn his entire body into diamond-hard, invincible armor. As Duryodhan walked toward his mother's tent, Krishna crossed his path. Krishna playfully mocked him, saying it was shameful and unbecoming for a grown prince to appear stark naked before his mother. Ashamed, Duryodhan wrapped a small loincloth around his waist and thighs before entering the tent. When Gandhari removed her blindfold, her powerful gaze washed over him, making his entire body indestructible, except for his hips, groin, and thighs, which had been covered by the cloth. By the 18th day, Duryodhan stood alone. Broken and grieving, he retreated to a lake, using his magical powers to solidify the water and hide beneath it. The Pandavas tracked him down. Rather than hiding, Duryodhan's warrior pride flared up, and he accepted a duel of maces against his eternal rival, Bhim. The duel was fiercely contested. As a student of Balaram, Duryodhan's technique was flawless, and he dominated the fight. Seeing Bhim falter and realizing that a victory for Duryodhan would mean the triumph of injustice, Krishna intervened. He didn't fight, but he subtly slapped his own thigh while looking at Bhim. This gesture reminded Bhim of two things. First, Duryodhan's vulnerable weak spot, and second, a blood oath Bhim had taken 13 years prior during the dice game, where he swore to break the very thighs Duryodhan had insultingly patted while inviting Draupadi to sit on his lap. Taking the hint, Bhim leaped into the air and brought his massive mace down onto Duryodhan's thighs, a direct violation of the sacred rules of mace warfare. Bhima smashed Duryodhan's thighs, shattering his bones and leaving him paralyzed and dying on the ground. This act was so scandalous that Balaram, who was watching the duel, raised his weapon to kill Bhim for cheating. Krishna stepped in to calm his brother down, offering a philosophical defense that defines the later stages of the Mahabharata. Firstly, if Duryodhan won, a regime built on deceit, the public humiliation of women, and tyranny would rule. And secondly, when an adversary completely abandons dharma, or righteousness, throughout their entire life, sticking strictly to the rules of dharma to fight them becomes a form of self-sabotage. Duryodhan had to be struck below the belt because he could not be defeated by conventional means, forcing the Pandavas to compromise their own honor to secure the ultimate victory. Duryodhan is a deeply polarizing figure. While history remembers him as the embodiment of ahankar, or destructive ego and greed, he was also a fiercely loyal friend to Karna, an exceptionally capable administrator who was genuinely loved by the citizens of his kingdom, and a warrior who refused to surrender even when utterly defeated. In his final moments, he didn't repent. Instead, he fiercely accused Krishna of cheating, arguing that he lived like a king and died like a warrior, while the Pandavas won through deceit. If you enjoyed this video, Please subscribe so you can get notified when more videos like this are uploaded.